Okay, this is one of 3 short videos that will replace lecture today. What I want to do is quickly go back through some of the material we covered on Wednesday and then extend it forward. As I noted, the oldest site that we have in terms of the Americas in South America is the Monteverde site, again located in southern Chile. And what is important to note about it is that the tool complex suggests that it is what we call pre-Clovis. That is, it's a technology that had evolved very early, and it suggests that human beings moved very quickly through the Americas and likely populated, to at least some degree, all of the western portions of South America, all of Central America, much of western North America. Okay, now what we also can say is that within the Americas, the diversity of domestication, so that is the movement towards settled agriculture, which also means settlements, was fairly rapid. You'll notice here that we have most notably, I'm going to look at just kind of 2 points here, the bottle gourd, which are a group of gourds that were used for transportation of things primarily, very, very early in terms of the pollen record, as well as you'll notice here that beans also existed well into 6000 BC, so nearly 8,000 years ago. Maize a little bit later. Again, in terms of the Central American and Central Andes, we have, it's not surprising that these dates are the earliest. Mesoamerica, again, that's the middle area. And then as we move into the highlands, that is the west coast, and then slowly down into the lowlands, low coastal areas, we see this series of settlements. So again, a cycle of settlement through Mesoamerica into the Central Andes. We don't have as much data on the eastern portion of South America in terms of settlements, but it's very clear that contemporary with Europe, to a large degree, we have settlements and settled agriculture happening. Now, when we think about this, what I want you to also understand are the settlement cores, that these areas of Mesoamerica, the coastal areas, and the Andean highlands persist through time as culture cores. And so what we want to think about is what those cores mean. Now, the other part of that, of course, is that today there remain indigenous groups that are far removed from contemporary society. This image came out in the New York Times about 2 years ago when a group of indigenous population in Brazil had conflict and in fact were murdered by gold miners. And we talked earlier about the implications of illegal gold mining. But it is worth understanding that the area of the Amazon basin still remains largely untouched, at least in certain areas. Okay, so human beings migrating in, I just want to point out some interesting notes of time. We know that this movement, at least, we have these kind of 15,000 to 13,000 years here. What's interesting is this one, again, is as we get all the way down into the Monteverde setting, we actually have evidence that's earlier than we have for some of the parts of North America. So it's an interesting question of whether that group perhaps was a more rapid expansion. In other words, people didn't stop until they'd moved all the way. And then there's, in a sense, the continuous filling in. Again, just a quick note on these dates. We see that this series, very, very consistent dates throughout the 14,000 before BC to anywhere possibly 15,500. But it is clear that the entire region was significantly populated. All right, so now getting into this idea of hearths. Again, as I noted in class, the main ones that I want you to know for this class are the Central American hearth region here. Again, significant development by 5000 BC. Again, primarily I want you to remember it as a maize culture hearth, most important component of that grouping there. Then in South America, quinoa and potatoes are the main thing. Again, this is the Andean culture hearth. These are the 2 main ones that I want you to know. Now, again, some standpoint of culture groups. I've hit this several times, but again, please note the dominant culture group in South America to be the Inca, the dominant in Central America to be the Mayan, in Mexico, the Aztec-Mexica complex, and then in the Caribbean, primarily the Taino, Carib, and Arawakan populations. And again, we'll deal with those next week in a greater detail. So again, Incan Empire, important to note that it extended to today what is Colombia, all the way down well through Chile and into a significant portion of Argentina in terms of its north to south. Our historical records have a very strong information regarding the last 3 emperor sequences. That suggests a lineage that ended in civil war, and that's worth understanding. In the Central American and Mexican regions, you'll notice that what we have is a very clear core of the Aztec Empire at 1519, surrounding essentially the Valley of Mexico, that is what is today Mexico City. In contrast, the Mayan civilization largely on the Yucatan Peninsula, and then the Olmec cultures kind of in that small kind of the cusp of the Gulf lowlands there. But in all of these, the Mesoamerican culture extended quite far along the isthmus. Okay. Now we're gonna the Carib population we'll deal with in the next set of slides. Again, 3 of these, please watch, and then you will be ready for Monday.